What if the invitation you've been waiting for has already been sent? What if the door is open, but excuses are keeping people outside? What if God's greatest feast is filled with the ones no one expected? Jesus shared this parable while sitting at a table, surrounded by people who believed they already understood God's kingdom. Someone at the meal spoke confidently, saying, "Blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God." It sounded spiritual. It sounded correct. But Jesus knew that behind those words was an assumption that some people were automatically in and others were automatically out. So Jesus answered with a story. A man prepared a great banquet, not a simple meal, but a feast. Everything was ready. When the time came, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, "Come, for everything is now ready." This was not a surprise invitation. These guests had already said yes earlier. They knew the banquet was coming. They expected a place at the table. But when the moment arrived, something strange happened. One by one, they began to make excuses. The first said he had bought a field and needed to go see it. Another said he had purchased oxen and needed to test them. Another said he had just married and therefore could not come. None of these reasons were emergencies. None were sudden crises. They were everyday priorities. Good things, even. But they were placed above the invitation. The servant returned and reported this to the master. And the master was angry. Not because the feast failed, but because the invitation was treated as optional. Then the master gave a shocking command. "Go quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame." These were the people no one expected at a great banquet. People without status, without influence, without the ability to repay the host. People who were usually excluded, overlooked, or forgotten. The servant did exactly as he was told. Yet even then, there was still room. So the master said again, "Go out to the roads and country lanes and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full." And then comes the most sobering line of the parable. "I tell you, not one of those who were invited will taste my banquet." This story is not about food. It is about the heart. It is about how people respond to God's invitation. The banquet represents the kingdom of God. The invitation represents grace. And the excuses reveal something deeply human. Many people don't reject God because they hate him. They reject him because they are busy, distracted, comfortable, confident they can come later. The tragedy is not that the invitation wasn't generous, it's that it wasn't taken seriously. The first guests believed the feast belonged to them by default. They assumed access without urgency. Familiarity bred indifference, and when the moment arrived, they chose their own priorities instead. Jesus was speaking directly to the religious leaders and the people of Israel who believed they were guaranteed a place simply because of heritage, knowledge, or tradition. But this parable reaches far beyond that table. It reaches us. How often do we say yes to God in theory, but no in practice? How often do we delay obedience because something else feels more pressing? How often do we assume there will always be another opportunity? The excuses in the parable are revealing. A field, oxen, a marriage, possessions, work, relationships. None of these are sinful on their own. But when they become reasons to refuse God's invitation, they become barriers. God's kingdom does not compete well with distractions. It requires response. The second group invited to the banquet shows us something beautiful. The poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame did not make excuses. They came. Why? Because they knew their need. They did not assume they deserved a place. They were surprised by grace. Often those who have the least are the most open to receiving. Those who know they are broken are quickest to accept healing. Those who are aware of their need are most grateful for invitation. And even after they came, there was still room. This reveals the heart of God. He desires a full house. He desires people to come in. He does not lower the standard of the feast, but he expands the reach of the invitation. Compel them to come in does not mean force. It means urge, persuade, assure. Because some people are so used to being rejected that they don't believe the invitation is real. This parable shatters the idea that God's kingdom is exclusive to the impressive. It is open to the willing. The only requirement is response. But there is also a warning. Those who assumed they would attend but never showed up missed the feast entirely. Opportunity does not last forever. Grace is generous, but it is not meaningless. The invitation is free, but it is not casual. There is a moment to respond, a time to come in, and delay can become refusal. This parable forces us to ask ourselves hard questions. What excuses am I making? What priorities am I protecting? What invitation am I postponing? It also challenges how we see others. Do we assume some people are too far gone? Do we believe some lives are unworthy of invitation? Do we forget that the feast was never about status, but about presence? Jesus reveals a God who keeps inviting, a God who goes beyond expectations, a God who fills his house with people the world overlooks. But he also reveals a God who takes response seriously. The great banquet is ready, the table is set, the door is open. The question is not whether you were invited, the question is whether you will come. And perhaps even more challenging, will you help bring others in? Thank you for watching this video. If this message spoke to your heart, please like the video, follow Holy Path Insights for more teachings from the life of Jesus, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps spread God's word to more